What's going on, fantasy owners? Welcome to another episode of the Eye Test. I'm here with co-host Paul Orlando, and today we're going to be going over the Panthers' offseason moves and grading them. But first, go ahead and press the subscribe button. You can also like this video, and feel free to comment what your most favorite offseason move is thus far. Paul, let's go ahead and start off with the Panthers signing of Adam Thielen. They brought in a wide receiver. He was the first wide receiver that they brought in after trading DJ Moore to the Bears. And I'd like to know what you think about that move from the Panthers' perspective and also Adam Thielen's fantasy value. Has it gone up? What would you say about that?
So before we kind of dive into Adam Thielen, I wanted to go over a little bit on how we will be grading these players. It's really simple. We're going to look at it as a team fit with their new role, the fantasy impact that they will have, whether we look at them as declining, staying the same, or even improving. And then if we get to it, maybe where their dream landing spot would be, or where we as fantasy owners would see their dream landing spot be. So with Adam Thielen, I really do like the move. And I might be one of the few people who really like the move. I think the only thing here is, I think we're all assuming that it's either going to be CJ Stroud or Bryce Young under center for the Panthers. So you're going to get a young rookie quarterback. And that's where I think Adam Thielen shines, where he, maybe not from a fantasy perspective, will do super well. But I think just from a football NFL standpoint and the developmental factor of this new young quarterback, I don't know if you could have got a better mentor, a better veteran wide receiver. He's huge in the red zone. He's great at 50-50 balls. He's a safety blanket for this young quarterback. So I think that was the main major upside reason why the Panthers were looking at Adam Thielen.
Yeah, I don't even think I need to say anything after that. I think Thielen is a red zone target, and I think that a young quarterback relies on veterans like Adam Thielen. They're going to be looking for them first. So, what would you grade him then? Is that an A in your book?
I would say I'm going to give it a B just because the fantasy impact does scare me. I don't see Adam Thielen having he's had at least 8 touchdowns over the past couple years. He's been huge in the red zone, but that is the only thing. Let's see here. The Vikings, he had 6 touchdowns, but he was coming off back-to-back 2020 and 2021. He had 14 and 10 and then had 6 last year. So now that I'm looking at that, I kind of see his stats staying the same, maybe somewhere between 60 and 70 catches, 700 plus yards. And I'll give him 8 touchdowns. Why not? I'll give him 8 touchdowns this year. So I think he stays about the same fantasy wise, which is why I gave it a B.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. I think it's a great landing spot for Adam Thielen because he does have the chance to be a wide receiver one on the Panthers, but that's not saying much, and it really depends on the quarterback who's playing and if it's a rookie, how they develop into the NFL. So I think it's a great landing spot for Adam Thielen, and I think that his fantasy production will either stay the same or drop a little bit. So then let's move on to the next move that the Panthers did, and that was getting Miles Sanders, free agent from Philly, had his breakout year last year and certainly earned a giant paycheck this offseason from the Panthers. What would you grade that move?
I actually love the move of the Panthers additions. I think that might be my favorite. I think that Miles Sanders comes in and gives you, and I mean this in a very nice, kind way, a Walmart version of Christian McCaffrey, so to speak. I know that, and John, you can speak for it, being an Eagles fan, it's not that Miles Sanders can't catch and run. It's just that they didn't really use him in the pass game that much. But I think that the Panthers are looking at what they have with Christian McCaffrey and looking at Miles Sanders and be like, okay, this is a guy that we can sign, that we can give that kind of workload to. And again, it's just all the Panthers' moves this offseason have been, how can we take the stress off of our young QB's shoulders? And with Adam Thielen, with Miles Sanders, who you can give the rock to 20-plus times a game, I think it just greatly makes the young quarterback who's about to come in there. I think it's CJ Stroud, but whoever it's going to be, I think it just takes a huge weight off of their shoulders.
So what would you grade it?
I'd give it an A. I think it's an A.
I disagree. I think that part of Miles Sanders' breakout year came with one, he finally stayed healthy, so he was able to play in the amount of games that we were expecting him to, but also that offensive line on the Eagles, and the Panthers just don't have anything close to that. So, in terms of landing spot, I don't necessarily think the Panthers was the best landing spot for him to succeed. However, what is helping him is the fact that he's the only running back right now that's going to be getting the ball in Carolina. So that's nice, but now they have to hope that he is a three down back. And the Eagles love to work in a committee. So I'm not so sure if Miles Sanders can have the longevity of a three down back with the Panthers. Like, if he were to go into that role week one, I don't see him lasting 17 games, the full season, or really like the expected like 14 or something like that. I don't see it. So the only thing that's helping Miles Sanders is the fact that he's not really in a committee like he was in Philly. And it worked well when he was in a committee because part of his issue the first 2 or 3 years we had him was that he was playing like 8 games a year. So, but the last year it worked. So I'm going to go ahead and give this grade probably a C minus. I think that he needs a better O line to perform, and um, I think he needs to be a part of a committee. I see him more as a committee back. There were a lot of times where he was used. This was more so the Carson Wentz era in Philly, but they were trying a lot of screen passes with Miles Sanders, and he wasn't doing so hot with them. Part of it was on Carson Wentz. But a lot of his points came from touchdowns this year and, running the ball. And by this year, I mean 2022. So if they're going to utilize him in the red zone, I trust Miles Sanders to get those like short yards and gun for the end zone. But I just don't see him outperforming last year because he had a breakout year. So I'm going to give him a C minus, maybe a C at best.
No, those are all very fair arguments, and this year, 2022 is going to be hard to top for Miles Sanders, but I think it'll be very interesting to see him in a complete workhorse role, and I think they're bringing him down here to have him be an option in the pass game as well. So we will see.
Yeah, and another thing that I think attributes to that C grade for me is that I this has nothing to do with Sanders, more so the Panthers. I think that they overpaid for that. I mean, I think as of now, that's the largest running back signing in free agency is Miles Sanders. I forget what he's getting.
3 years.
I feel like he's getting like 8 million a year.
Yeah, he's getting a decent amount of money
He is, and he
to
deserves it. But it's just like the Panthers are still in rebuild mode, and I don't think they should have spent that much on the running backs because, as we've seen time and time again, Super Bowl contending teams, by the time we get to the Super Bowl, it's always like the least paid running backs are in the Super Bowl. So that's just the theme I've noticed. Paul, let's move on to DJ Chark. This was the most recent signing by the Panthers. Again, they lose DJ Moore. They sub him out for another DJ Chark. What do you think about that?
This is the one that I was kind of questioning, where it's not that I'm saying that it doesn't make sense, but I don't know why DJ Chark looked at the Panthers and be like, that's where I want to go. The Panthers obviously see something they like, and let's not forget DJ Chark was at a Pro Bowl 3 years ago for the Jaguars. So the talent is certainly kind of there, but I just don't understand this move. He's a deep ball threat, but like a B plus deep ball threat. He's not like a top tier deep ball guy. Wide receivers are coming out of the draft left and right. I know the Panthers just sold their soul for the 1.1, which maybe that's why they're thinking, let's throw DJ Chark a 1 year deal, see what happens. Maybe he's the guy we're looking for. But it doesn't make sense to me, really. You got your number one in Thielen for Stroud. You got your running back. You got your tight end to Hurst, who we'll talk about soon. But I just don't understand this one. So I think it's going to be a C. I think that DJ Chark's going to be a clear afterthought in this offense, and I think he's going to hit the open market again next year.
Yeah, I don't think that this was the best landing spot for DJ Chark, although it was better than staying in Detroit. He's got a lot of competition now that Jameson Williams will have a full season, and then the emergence of Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I think that it is a better option than being on the Lions. However, just like you said, he's going to be mainly like the deep ball flyer guy on the Panthers. And for a rookie quarterback to be hitting all those long bombs like to DJ Chark, I mean, you might be getting two 20-point games out of DJ Chark, and then the rest are just going to be a bunch of donuts this year in fantasy. So I don't think it was the best landing spot for him. I can probably see him outperforming his stats last year, however. So I would give this a C.
Yeah, that's about what I gave it to. And I think you're right. I think a good point is DJ Chark was looking at Detroit and being like, I got no role here. I got to go somewhere else. And where else to go than a rebuilding team? Maybe prove yourself, see what happens.
So that does it for the Panthers offseason grades. We're going to do more of these tomorrow. We're going to focus on Elijah Moore to the Browns and how we grade that, how that impacts his fantasy value, and much, much more. Thanks again for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. Go ahead and follow us on our social media, which is down below in the description. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye, Remy.